The subject of my paper is an analysis of the current basic training system of youth probation officers in Ontario and the learning perspectives it employs. It also provides a plan to restructure the learning environment in order to better support new officers in the classroom and in the field. To start off though, it's probably best if I briefly explain what a probation officer does. There are many roles and responsibilities, but some of the duties include supervising offenders and their court orders, enforcing non-compliance with orders, writing pre-sentence reports to assist courts in determining appropriate sentences, preparing risk assessments and case management plans, and assisting with rehabilitation through the facilitation of treatment programs. Balancing these roles and responsibilities is a challenge and requires a great deal of initial training, guidance, and time to gain expertise in the profession. The current training program in Ontario is evolving, but still has some very outdated practices. The sink or swim process, as I've called it here, is likely the most prevalent. Successful candidates often start working as probation officers immediately, without formal training, which can be overwhelming. The system requires new officers to cover many topics in a very short period of time, which may hinder their learning and transfer to the field. This crash course approach may also diminish their motivation to learn. As the drive reduction theory states, if motivation is diminished and learning does not satisfy the learner's needs, then learning will be decreased. The current system does little to recognize this. The in-class training is likely the strongest area in the current training program, as it provides a total of 6 weeks of in-class instruction throughout a 6-month period. I related this to a 2012 study of STAR training, a program designed to educate probation officers on risk and needs of offenders. It found that as little as 40 hours of training on the subject matter resulted in a 25% decrease in recidivism rates. This speaks to the great impact that even a small amount of focused and proper instruction can have on the justice system as a whole. In terms of reflective practice, there is little, if any, explicitly built into the current system, which I address in my proposal for a new program. So as I've stated, some of the downfalls that I listed are that there is no initial formal training when officers are hired. There is no mentor assigned to a new probation officer, and there is no reflective practice built into the program. Ultimately, our goal is to create expertise in the field of youth justice. As stated by the expertise theory, the amount of practice in which an individual engages, the quality of the curriculum provided, and access to an expert coach appears to predict the rate and ultimately limits of the development of expertise within a given domain. So the question then becomes, well, how do we do this? The most effective method would be an online training program that officers could access on their first day and complete at their own pace. As lack of time and an overabundance of information are often two of the most prevalent barriers to the transfer of knowledge, an online approach would allow new hires to access the information when they need it and address any concerns immediately in their home office. Built into the online learning system would also be a collaborative area where students could create, document, and assess their own learning in a group environment that would be monitored by an instructor. This connectivist system highlights that learning is about making connections with information, people, and communities. Next, I recommend that new officers are assigned an expert coach. It is important to select probation officers that are skilled in teaching, as expertise in a profession does not guarantee an ability to teach others about the profession. Having one-to-one support provides a learner-centered environment for the new hires. If implemented correctly, coaches would pay attention to the new officer's progress, knowledge, skills, and interests and tailor tasks appropriately. In the classroom setting, a hugging and bridging approach would be an effective way to build upon the knowledge obtained in the field and through the online program. Simulating real-life situation probation officers may face through activities such as role-playing would bring together theory and practice and increase motivation, as it would actively demonstrate how the information can be used to impact others. This, in conjunction with instruction that allows participants to make conscious abstractions of the material and identify applications to other contexts, would be effective use of the classroom environment and ultimately lead to transfer. This makes reflective practice and metacognition a vital part of the learning process for officers. The ability to self-assess, adequately judge different circumstances, and make appropriate adjustments is important for not only the ability to complete assigned tasks, but also to do them safely. Ways to build reflective practice would be the use of learning logs shared with classmates, online discussions built into the online training program, and assignments that require new hires to analyze their learning in combination with effective feedback. The reflective supervision model implemented in 2011 in the UK also highlights the importance of training probation managers on shaping the environment and culture within probation services through the use of reflective practice. The study found that managers who implemented their own reflective practice and encouraged their staff to do the same had both positive feedback from the probation officers they supervise and resulted in less supervision requirements. So again, knowledge plus expert coaching plus critical reflection leads to expertise. References used in the paper include the following. Summaries from the research studies used to inform the paper can also be found on the Principles of Learning course wiki.